Yeah, it is online now. It's live.
So we could just be talking right now, and when it comes on over here.
Okay, let me just send this. Or shall I sing?
Yeah. Prayer.
So let me just go back to this one. Oh, yeah. Now let's see where we are. So remember we talked about Guru Yoga. There are many Guru Yoga. But we are talking about Guru Yoga based on Lama Tsongkhapa. Lama Tsongkhapa's Guru Yoga. Even Lama Tsongkhapa's Guru, there are many. The most popular, there are two. The Segyu lineage and the Wensa Nyingyu lineage. And then, of course, Ketu Chikyu, there's another lineage which is no longer, I think, the lineage is no longer, what do you call, lineage, I think there's a break. So it is not, how to say, it doesn't exist now, the lineage. So what we are talking about is Ganden Lha Gyäma, which is Segyu lineage. So when you talk about the lineage, we have Lama Tsongkhapa, and then Shizun Sherab Sengye, and then Dunaba. Dunaba is the only one who wrote it down, who composed that Ganden Lha Gyäma. Earlier, it was all practiced in a, what do you call, secret way. Not make, is still no sound? Still no.
See if the microphone is plugged in today.
Yeah, it
or
is.
If the microphone, does it have a battery?
No. I don't think so. No battery, nothing. No, even if this should hear without microphone.
Well, the microphone is plugged in.
Yeah, it won't. Now that I have taken off, they should hear if it has something to do with the microphone. But obviously, yeah, they cannot hear. Oh, it says yes, thank you. They can hear. How about now?
But it takes 20 seconds or so. Wasn't when you took the microphone out. Yeah.
Is it? Okay, so how about now? No sound coming? I can hear better. Yeah. Aja Kunjo says can hear. Sound is back. He says, okay, that's good. Okay. So, and then the lineage comes down, pass on until to your guru. So, if you have received this teaching before, then yeah, your last line is your guru. I have received mine from His Holiness. Okay, good. Finally, I don't know what went wrong. So we don't need that. So this picture was taken in Los Angeles. What was that beach? That famous beach?
Malibu?
No.
Muscle Beach.
What is that called? In LA, there's a famous beach that everybody goes. Santa Monica Beach. Award-winning picture. But the problem is now. Okay, I'm looking at the Veda. Let me just. Okay, so now we are here, back here. Looks like recap is going to take the whole class, whole session.
It shows us how precious your words are.
Yeah. Then we talk about it enables effectiveness in our practice. We are doing practices. Everybody is doing practices. But no matter how many hours or how long we have been doing, but we cannot really see any result, any realization, any attainment. The number of years we have practiced, we should see something, isn't it? But then, yeah, there's nothing there. It's because of that. Remember, I showed you I showed you that what Lama Adisha said about Tibetans. So Tibetans, you Tibetans, no wonder you have no realizations because you view your guru as an ordinary being. So if your view is just that level, then of course, no gain. We fail to have that kind of a view. So remember, even Lama Tsongkhapa himself, when he was struggling to really understand the finer points of emptiness, he has read extensively. He has contemplated for years and years, but still couldn't really grasp the finer points. So when he asked Manjushri asked him to do three things. The one thing is to whatever practice he does, do it inseparable with your guru. So basically guru yoga, on top of that, do all these purification practices. So after doing that, after following the Manjushri's advice, then Lama Tsongkhapa had the final realization. That's when he composed that three principal aspects of the path. And remember, I told you that such a scholar who was what you call the harsh critic of Lama Tsongkhapa, he was so surprised. When he first read, he thought that this must be a writing of Nagarjuna himself. And then he thought, oh, yeah, because it says about Nagarjuna there, oh, maybe it's not Nagarjuna, maybe another great Indian scholar. And then he goes on reading, and finally at the end it says this is from Lama Tsongkhapa. That's when he changed his mind. That's when he started to compose praise to Lama Tsongkhapa. So that's what great scholars, they are unbiased. So first they see it's not right, so they will criticize. But then when they get it right, they will accept that. So if we want to see any result, that also speedy, expedited result, then yeah, there's no other way than to incorporate, to improve our, what you call, view of our guru, and also incorporate guru yoga in our practice. And then when we try to practice, there will be a lot of hindrances. Sometimes it will be external, like spirit harms. If you do this practice, Ganden Lha Gyäma, and recite Migzama, then that becomes the best protection. We discussed that story. And then through this practice, one can improve our intelligence, our wisdom. There are 5 or 7 types of wisdom. So these, when you read the commentaries by these different lamas, they, what do you call it, wow, which is it? They say that their practice, if you really follow and do the visualization, within 1 month, you can see the change. You can see the result. So try it out. And then finally, to meet Lama Tsongkhapa's teaching in the future and will be born in Tushita. So one time, I think it's one of the Pension Rinpoche, somebody requested Pension Rinpoche that, or may I be able to meet Buddha Dharma? So first is that may I be able to obtain human rebirth? So the Lama, what's that, Panchen Lama, so agreed, accepted that request. And then, so, may I be also able to meet Buddha Dharma? That also accepted. And then, so, may I be able to meet Lama Tsongkhapa's teaching? That one, Panchen Lama didn't agree, didn't accept. So this shows that how difficult it is. Of course, when we say that it's like a bit sectarian, but it is not. It is not. It is said to be very hard to meet, first of all, Buddha Dharma in general. That one we can say, how many people in this world, 7 billion people that His Holiness always says, out of 7 billion, how many are Buddhists? Very few. Even those of us who claim Buddhists, how many are real Buddhists? Isn't it? Very few. So that's why if we do this practice, then yeah, there is chance that we will be able to meet Lama Tsongkhapa's teaching in the future lives, life after life we will be able to meet. And then there is chance that we will be born in Tushita. Tushita is that abode where Maitreya Buddha resides, where Lama Tsongkhapa is also there in the form of Deva. And finally, all our wishes be fulfilled. Because through Guru Yoga practice, we will be able to cultivate enormous amount of merit. When we have merit, all our wishes will be fulfilled. Sonam Dembe Mi Sambanam Jandrup. At the moment, we encounter situations where we worked so hard, we did everything right, but something goes wrong. It doesn't happen. And there are people who work so hard, nothing happens. But then there are other people who doesn't put that much effort, but whatever that person starts, whatever that person embarks on is always successful. So we wonder why. Sometimes we talk about, oh, he's such a lucky person. It has nothing to do with luck. It is about merit. When you have plenty of merit, then things go smoothly. So that's what happens. So why I am covering this Lama Tsongkhapa Guru Yoga, Ganden Lha Gyäma, first of all, is a very short. I think many of you recite on daily basis, isn't it? Ganden Lha Gyäma. And then, yeah, it mainly to really spend time on doing the Miktsima recitation. So there are people amongst Tibetans or even maybe in the what you call Westerners. They wanted to do some kind of practice. Even they wanted to do some retreat, but they don't know what to do, what practice to do. So these are the practices that you can do if you have no other things you want to do. So this one, you just divide this into 4 sessions. So you go through, we will go through this one, and then yeah, you just do the practice. So normally at the end of semester, those who are coming from the beginning, you know that we try to do retreat, 2 days retreat. One time we did 6 preparatory retreat. So when we are able to do, even though it's not a long retreat, but we are able to do the retreat, just 2 days retreat, at least you get a glimpse. You get to know how it is done. Then when you go back, and if you have time, do longer retreat. So that's the whole purpose. So I like to do that at every end of semester. We did once And then second time we planned for, what was that one? The Vajrasattva retreat. But then what happened? Pandemic came. And then now what happens? We have no venue. Khajuling has no venue to do retreat. And last time we did at Gyudu, because Gyudu Center, they had no teacher at that time. So their hall is available for us. So now that they have their own teacher, we cannot ask to let us use for 2 days, because it will require them to cancel their classes. So Khajuling needs to find a place. So Khajuling has started this, what was that? Give Max.
Give Minnesota.
Give Minnesota.
And there's a fall thing every year, which is Give to the Max Day.
Give to the Max Day. So we have, this year we have registered for that one. But I know those who are here, you have been always giving. But it will be good if you can share, because this is also on the Facebook. Khajuling has a Facebook. So it's already there. If you can share to your friends or those people whom you know, so maybe there will be a, what do you call, ripple effect. Maybe, who knows, next year Khajuling has a place. Anyway, now let's, so this practice has 2 parts. First is the preliminary, and then the actual practice. So here, okay, I think no need, it's okay. So preliminary practices, these are no different from what we have covered in the Lamrim class, the 6 preparatory practices. So cleaning the room and arranging the representation of Buddhas. So since we every morning we do our practices, so of course for us we don't need to do specially for that. But if you are doing a retreat on this, then yeah, it is a good idea to at least do 1 time before you start, clean your prayer room, and then arrange if you don't have any representations of Buddha, Dharma, Sangha, then you do that. And if you are going to do this practice, it is good to have a Lama Tsongkhapa's image, Thanga, or a statue. And then making offerings. Setting up offering, we have covered this before, so I'm not going to go into detail. So I think most of you practice this. So these making offerings are also a very powerful way, powerful means to gather merit. So Tibetan practice is to offer that water ball. We call it water ball offering. So you have this water ball, 7 sets, 7 pieces in 1 set, and then every day we offer water. The reason is that Tibet's water is said to have so many qualities, 8 qualities. So first of all, it tastes really good. But here the water, without filter water, it is hard to drink. Even if you boil, there is some smell or taste there. So I cannot drink, so must drink the filtered water. But Tibet water is coming directly from mountain. They said that there's no funny taste. And secondly, it is clean, no pollution. And because of that, it doesn't harm our, the tummy or whatever it is. So there are many reasons. That is one reason. Second reason, I think that it is because if we were to offer juice every day, we will feel it, isn't it? Our wallet will protest. When it comes to water, who feels stinginess? Who feels miserliness to make water? In Tibet, you don't have to pay. But here we have to pay water bills. But it is manageable, isn't it? It is not that much. So nobody feels that sense of miserliness or stinginess. So your offering becomes pure and perfect. And then I share this, those whom you have met, Hui. I learned from her. Her practice is that whenever she goes to do grocery marketing, which you have to do on a weekly basis, she comes back. Those which you can put on the altar, she always brings it to the altar and offers there. And then 1 or 2 later brings out and then use it. I thought that's a perfect way. You, whether you offer or not, you still have to spend that money. You still have to buy. You buy and offer and then use it as a blessing. That's such a perfect way. So I try to do that at home. Of course, some of the things you cannot really put on the altar, but like fruits, all this. And then every now and then buy flowers. It's not that expensive. One bunch you can get at $9 or something. Remember when late Jocelyn was alive, every class she used to bring a pot of flower as offering. So next Rinpoche, she will be very pretty one. Yeah, so these are things that we should do. So even if you cannot do 7 balls, just do 1. And then when you make Tibetan, a very good practice. When we make tea in the morning, the first tea we always pour in a small cup, or there's a special offering set. We always do that. So over here, I also do that. So when I make tea, then yeah, the Buddhas will get also a small cup. If I don't make tea, then of course, the coffee, they won't get it. The teas, yeah, they will. Yeah. So these are how to make offerings. And then adopting, now that you are, after you set up your altar, you set up your offerings, now you are going to start. So this is talking about how to sit. Of course, the suggestion is that you adopt this particular position, but for many people, it is difficult. So you choose whatever is more comfortable to you. For you, maybe on the chair. Yeah, it doesn't really matter. But of course, if you're able to sit in that specific, that prescribed position, there are benefits. If not, it doesn't matter. And then after you set up, then we need to set our mind. My motivation, why we are doing this. Motivation is so important. By now you already know that whether an action becomes a wholesome or unwholesome is completely contingent on your motivation, your intention, why you are doing this practice. And also whether that practice becomes a Mahayana practice or Theravada practice also depends on your motivation. So that's why it is so important. Sometimes what happens is, maybe most of the times, for many people, we think that we are doing a Dharma practice, but it ends up to be a worldly practice. What do I mean by that? It's because our intention is for this life, in order to have success, in order to be healthy, in order to be, what do you call, most of the time is like, not just for yourself, your family, especially if you are a parent. Your concern is for your children to be successful, healthy, doing well in exam, getting good jobs. If your intention is for that purpose, then it says that that's not a practice, Dharma practice. It is a worldly practice. So Dharma practice, in order for your practice to qualify as Dharma practice, intention must go beyond this life, must concern next life. At least, at a minimum, it must concern next life. You think at the moment you sit down and you think about your situation. Yes, I'm fortunate that I'm alive now, but death, there's no fixed time. Any moment it can send its messenger. Hey, knock on the door. We don't know when that will be. We cannot say because, oh, you are old, you will die first. There's no guarantee. You are healthy, you will, won't die soon. There's no guarantee. We see so many things. Healthy people die. There were cases where who are nursing the sick one die first. And people, how many children die? So there is no, what you call, the sequence. Any moment. When we die, do we have the freedom to choose our next life? We don't. We don't. Of course, if we have the freedom to choose, then of course, why bother to come here, isn't it? On this kind of snowy, cold day, just stay at home. But we don't. Who decides? Who decides our future life? Who decides? Our action, our karma. Our karma decides. So now you look back. If the karma decides, there are two karmas to decide for us. Negative karma, white karma, or the positive karma. Whichever is more will decide, isn't it? Like election, isn't it? Whoever wins the majority decides. So which one is greater in us? Of course, there's no way we can really look and count, but we can check ourselves. In one day, how many positive, how occasional, how frequently positive mind arises? How many times we engage in positive actions in one day? On the other hand, in one day, negative thought. So easy, isn't it? You don't need other people. When you are with other people, you gossip, you talk, say all kinds of things. When you're alone, all the mind is working. Even in prayers, doing prayers, even the sitting in meditation, your mind is going, wandering and thinking about all this. So from that rough estimation, we know where we are going to be born, isn't it? So with that conviction, then you need to have this sense of urgency and fear. Well, I'm alive now. If I were to die tomorrow, what would happen to me? From my action, it looks like I'm going to go down. Once I go down, is this life's suffering is just a child's play. Far worse than what we see or what we hear or what we experience. So then, you say, I must do something. So with that kind of intention, if you engage in any practice, at least that becomes Dharma. Then the second intention is, yes, if I am able to ascertain a good rebirth in the next life, but then next life also I have to die. Again, there's no guarantee that I will be able to born in a higher rebirth. So as long as I am not free from this existence, cyclic existence, there is always fear and uncertainty. So I better ensure that I achieve liberation. So that is far better than the first one. And then finally you think that it is very selfish of me just to think about myself achieving liberation. How about the rest of the sentient beings? They have been very kind to me. From the Buddhist point, they have been our mothers at one time. So they have been very kind. So I must repay their kindness. Like me, they are all also suffering. At the moment, I am better in a sense that I met Dharma. I know what is to be abandoned, what is to be cultivated. So I am in a better position. So I must do something for them. What can I do? At the moment, I cannot even liberate one sentient being. But when can I will be able to do so is when I become Buddha. When I myself become Buddha, then I will be able to help them. So now your intention is to achieve or to become Buddha. So your goal is to become Buddha, but actual main goal is to help them. So if you are able to start your practice with that kind of intention, then that becomes Mahayana practice. That becomes the best practice. So before we start any practice, these are the important things. So before we start this, I think it's already break time, I think. Here we go. I'm okay, thank you.
Are we breaking?
Mm-hmm.
Are we taking a break?
Yeah, yeah. 15 minutes break.
So I can't read.
I see.
How's the sound for you? Ben?
Pretty bad.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Bev noticed that when you speak Tibetan, your voice is louder and she can hear you. But when you're speaking English, your voice is a little.
Oh, is it? Maybe Tibetan is a bit rough. Is it? I don't know. Chú mẹ, position.
Did you take your driving test?
Not yet. It's on 28.
I was thinking of a couple of suggestions, remembering back when I took the driver's test. They started me out in the area, like in the place of the driver testing area.
Yeah.
Before they took you out, they wanted to make sure I at least could, steer around cones. And so there was they had like set up like a road, and there was like a do not enter sign on the left, like it was a one way.
Okay.
And so the driver examiner told me to turn left. And I asked him, oh, but that's a one way. And so he didn't say anything.
I see.
So he relied on me doing the right thing. And so I turned left the next one, which was not a one way. That was
I see.
Then the second thing that I lost points for.
Sorry, yeah.
So the second thing was that if I was too careful, so I came up to a stop sign that also had a sidewalk in front of it. And the rule is you should slow down at the sidewalk, and if anybody's in it, you have to stop before you come to the sidewalk. But I stopped there even though there was nobody coming, and then I stopped again at the stop sign. It was about 6-10 feet. And he said, oh, you were too careful there. And so I lost points. So that's something to be,
Okay, thank you.
if I have to give you any tips.
Thank you, thank you.
Yeah.
Oh. Chai, Indian chai. Yeah.
Have you had one?
I've had chai before. I don't know if it was Indian.
This is kind of not sweet as you might like.
It's very beautiful. I've always used that feeling.
Anthony, you have another expensive jacket.
Yes, right. I just
You don't give me this.
adjusted to like I
Oh, yeah.
warm, but it's like I've just been feeling cold.
Yeah.
I think it's very expensive.
Yeah, I'll adjust, but yeah, the first week or two is just like constant.
My spouse is
Wow.
doing a lot of baking, so she's been opening the doors. Plus, she has, I think, hot flashes. My desk is right beside the door.
Have some chai.
Okay. You know, the cats like it, because they're coming in and out, but they all appreciate that, you know, it's funny.
나 진짜 당분할 거야. 네 쇼부터 나서.
Yeah.
응.
Oh yeah, I mean, I just moved here 8 years ago from California. Yeah, so I never had the real true seasons before, so I enjoy having the seasons.
그래서 좀 먹었니 돼.
Well, I lived in the Bay Area for years, so there's like no seasons there, but I grew up in Auburn, which is in the foothills outside of
그러니까
Sacramento.
쉬운 거라서.
So there we had a
그러니까 쉬운 거라서. 너니 나서 거라서.
like it would freeze in the winter, but maybe once every 5 years we get like one snowfall or something. So, you know, so there, you know, there's some degree of
You can
seasons.
still all drive.
Oh yeah, we could drive up to the snow, yeah.
Yeah, also from India, from the trail, during the long life trail.
아.
I have water bowls that I don't need,
아.
so I don't know whoever would like them.
Oh. Okay. We can keep it here for now. Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, okay, you got some water.
It's tea bags too.
Anthony, you should try that paklet, that bread. It's really good. You tried? Have you?
The monks made some last 2 days ago. They were really good. It was thick.
Mm.
It was really moist.
But this one thick but fluffy. I like that.
Yoshi used to make it too. He used to make it like a pan bread, right? And then he would roll it, because it was so thick, he would roll it on the side. Or, you know, cook it as he was rolling it. I had my birthday yesterday.
Oh, it's your birthday. Okay, belated happy birthday.
Thank you. I just spent time downstairs. Just doing a little bit of studying and just relaxing for the day. I didn't want to go anywhere. Cold weather doesn't motivate me very much for some reason.
Were you able to contact one of those attorneys? Or?
Yeah, what happened was I read what was the first one? Peter, is it? What's that name?
Oh, his long.
Peter one is a young fellow.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't know.
The
Yeah, it's
first
just
one,
three
the
that were
first one,
recommended.
yeah.
I didn't look them
Yeah,
up.
the first one, yeah, I looked at his thing and I wasn't very convinced. So I went for the other one, Alina or something.
Okay.
Yeah, she is an immigration lawyer and she works for a big firm. So I called her office, but she was not there to take the call. I left a message to ask her to call me back. She never called.
Oh no.
So I thought, okay, that means, it says a lot, isn't it? It's a lot. In the meantime, the Texas, the owner has contacted somebody, the realtor who helped me get the place.
Yeah.
He's also Vietnamese, so they communicate better.
Okay.
So asked her to do it. And she asked me to send my card so that she is going to do the quit claim.
Oh, okay.
So
Yeah.
looks like she is doing. So I
she's
said,
going
oh,
to take
okay.
care of. Okay.
Yeah,
Then
looks
that's
like.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
That's good.
I didn't further pursue this one.
No,
But
that's
thank you
good.
very much. You
Oh,
spent so much
no, it
time.
wasn't.
Thank you.
No, it wasn't very much time.
Thank you. Thank you.
No, I mean, I just reached out to a few people and then they sent the information.
Yeah,
So.
it is always good to go through somebody whom you know. Like you never know. You see, if I just go there, and, you never know what they will do.
The one lawyer that I contacted was a client of ours. That then I just explained the situation, and he's a client, and I basically was asking for a little bit of free advice from him, which he gave, but I mean, I copied it too.
Yeah,
It was like
yes,
so long,
yeah, it
those
seems so
separate paragraphs. I looked at it and I was confused.
But he does, isn't it? He handles.
But he does commercial real estate mostly.
But is he willing to take this on?
Well,
if I
not
need
for
to...
free.
No,
though,
no,
I
no,
don't
no,
think.
no,
Yeah,
no, we are going to pay.
But I think what I gathered from his response is that because he does mostly commercial real estate, he's just used to working with much bigger things, and so even his response, it seemed like
he's not that interested.
Well, he was doing it. It's all very proper, but it seemed like it was making it more complicated, maybe than it needed to be. That's just my thought. Certainly his office could do it, but it's not what they normally do. And I think because he's working with such bigger clients, they have very set, proper ways of doing things that maybe is more detailed than is necessary. That's my take. But definitely from everyone I heard that it's good to just have an attorney help do all the paperwork properly.
Yeah, that's better. So I think they are looking into that.
Okay, good.
So I'm still waiting.
Okay, all right, good.
I think I need to go to the washroom.
How are you doing?
Thank you for not dropping me.
Anything from Dean?
Well, I responded to one of his drawings. And he was probably late, but I had
And I don't like to cause a big commotion. I'm really embarrassed about this. But I really want to hear all.
sent him a little bit of a longer message, just to we're all still here. And we're all still maintaining.
Are you still living at your old house that went, or?
No, I'm staying with some friends.
Well, what if she engaged in now?
Oh, okay.
Okay.
She's director of a research program.
Oh.
So she's teaching and trying to get grants.
Oh, very.
Research studies.
Okay.
Perfect for something.
Okay, good.
Not as often. Not as often.
Oh, nice.
Showing some retreat.
And
Usually it's like 1 month of
well,
intensive.
what she tries to do is she tries to
try to extend it a little longer.
She doesn't
I
cover
was thinking about going to India.
Yes.
Sometimes
She's getting those wonderful things.
yeah, she's in this.
Just gonna wait it out. My sons are saying when they just got back, they were there for a month.
And I think that's so cool.
But there's, I don't know, it's just the hustle and bustle.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know what it is.
Yeah.
I always seem to be, always ready to go. It's like, how long eventually wears out.
Yeah.
It's just grinds it.
Yeah. Yeah, to go to, I mean, once you get there and you're settled to do retreat, it's good, but it's quite a lot to.
I'm really grateful because I never really had to independently move through time and space. With that, Rinpoche is always there.
Very grass.
And he's like, he's picking, they're having someone pick this
Oh, wow. Okay.
And whatever time that he has available.
I'm looking to see if it's time to do it.
I'm just so grateful because what it does is it makes the whole journey
It's quite an
so much
interesting
more
life when you can't
pleasant and easier to access things.
It's been a big adjustment.
But also,
Yeah.
it leaves you with an attitude of gratitude too, sometimes. And you have to do that, most people their own way. It's kind of like, that's a difference between Tsongkhapa and Dorje Rinpoche, who was here. Dorje Rinpoche, I remember the first time he was teacher in Portland, and he was being called back to India.
Oh, those last months when I was writing,
Finally got to go back with
I wouldn't go and boss
just hang out there.
road because I couldn't see how far. So I
He
go
said,
right
went through
corners,
Turkey,
only
he said,
way around back.
Sure, you can come back there, but what are you gonna do?
Glad I get over it.
So, and I just, for some reason, I had assumed I would just stay with it. You know, but that's an assumption that you can't always make, you know, with your mind. So, but I think once you establish the connection, there's always a
Walks around a lot.
interdependent energy always happening.
To give up your,
It prevents
You
you
take
from
care of
power
you,
and your ability to get
take care of that. It's a really good thing.
You know,
Mutual.
lesson for this try.
That's hard to see. Your favorite part?
No, it's not.
Share a little closer.
Oh, I saw that.
Did you see that?
Yeah.
Sounds like.
I think.
No, you're not in the way.
Yay.
You get a little closer.
I don't know if I get any closer. I hate to refuse people when they're trying to be so kind.
Yeah. Okay, so now one of the preliminary practice is to do the refuge. So the refuge practice, you can use the Jorju one, the visualization. In the Jorju practice, we have this one. In space at eye level before me is a throne, both lofty and glorious, made of all precious gems, supported by 8 lions, 2 at each side. On top of the throne is a seed of lotus in full bloom, and then on it, in reality, is your guru, but in the form of Shakyamuni Buddha. So we know how Shakyamuni Buddha looks like. So we need to, generate the merit or generate the refuge field. So we need to have the Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha. So for Buddha in the center, so there are different ways to do it, but this is the easiest way for us to visualize. One throne in the middle, you visualize Shakyamuni Buddha, who is actually your root guru in the form of Shakyamuni Buddha. And then Shakyamuni Buddha is surrounded by your other gurus whom you have received teachings, or if you have what you call the, I don't know what is the term for that. You know, your guru's guru, all those whom you have received, the lineage guru. So that's one round. And then around that one, you can visualize the deities, Yamantaka, Heruka, what else? Whatever you are familiar with, Gyo Samaja, Kalachakra, whatever you are familiar with, surrounded by that. And then another round of all the Buddhas. There are so many Buddhas. You just have to visualize that. And then surrounding that one, Bodhisattvas, and around them all those realized hearers and solitude, Aryas, Arya being, not Arya, Arhat, and those realized beings, and then the what we call the protectors, Dagas and Dakinis, and then what else? The protectors. That's one, and then in front of them we visualize a small throne, and then on that throne, in reality, it is their inner realization, but in the form of text or scripture. You see in the picture, that's not that clear. So in front of them, so that represents Dhamma, Buddha jewel, Dhamma jewel, and then Sangha. Of course, Sanghas are those Arya beings who have realized what you call the direct perception, direct insight into emptiness. So now we have all the 4 objects of refuge: your Guru, Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha. So why we visualize in the form of the Dhamma in the form of text is that because it helps us to do the visualization when it comes to what you call when it comes to the lights and nectars emitting from them. So that helps. If you have that image, instead of saying that, oh, they're from their realizations, then yeah, you don't get the picture. But when you have this image there, then it helps. It helps for us to do the visualization. So with that refuge field now generated, then we spend some time doing the actual refuge practice. Lama La Gyäma Sucho, if you want to say in Tibetan, then say Lama La Gyäma Sucho, Sanje La Gyäma Sucho, Cho La Gyäma Sucho, Gindun La Gyäma Sucho. One is missing, Gindun La Gyäma Sucho. But if you want to recite in English, that's fine. I go for refuge to the Guru, I go for refuge to the Buddha, I go for refuge to the Dhamma, I go for refuge to the Sangha. So when you do that, there are visualizations involved. So if you are doing alone, so that's better. You can do one at a time. You use your mala, and then Lama La Gyäma Sucho, you just focus on one, the first one, and then do the visualization. So that itself can take hours if you want to. So there's nothing short of what practice to do. There's plenty. Just that one can take you hours and hours. So when it comes to the visualization, there are 2 parts. One is what you call from the one side, you visualize purifying all the negativities. On the other side, you visualize receiving all the blessings. So on one hand, you bring down all the negativities. On the other hand, you bring up all the qualities. So how do we do that? So when you recite, it is good to either do half, focus on your, each visualization, you can just use half of your mala. So first half, you focus your visualization on purification. So how do we do when we say Lama La Gyäma Sucho? Lama La Gyäma Sucho, Lama La Gyäma Sucho, Lama La Gyäma. So you have already visualized all your guru, the root guru in the form of Buddha, surrounded by other gurus. So from all that guru, imagine rays of light and nectars, what you call, tangled in the light itself. So all the rays, what do you call that? Rays first, white rays of light emitting from the guru's body, and then there's also nectars, drops of nectars coming, and then you're entering your body and cleanse away all the negativities in general that you have committed in the countless past lives, and particularly any negativities that you have committed in relation to your guru. It could be physical harm. It could be, we call kacha, means not really following your guru's advice, and also criticizing your guru or showing disrespect. Even we may not have done in this lifetime, but we may have done in the past. So since we don't know, focus on that. So that's the main part when we do this Lama La Gyäma. And then the other part is, so now instead of white rays and nectars, you imagine yellow in color, yellow rays and rays of light or yellow light, and nectars comes and dissolves into you, and then imagine that you have received the blessings or the qualities of your guru. So with that visualization, you have to recite Lama La Gyäma, Lama La Gyäma, Lama La Gyäma. So that's, if you do that one round with visualization, very good. And then you move on to the next one, which is I go to refuge. I go to refuge to the Dhamma. So now you shift your the object from where all that light and nectars are coming. Now you focus all that on the Buddhas, surrounding Buddhas, the deities, the Buddhas that you have visualized. Now from their body, all that light and rays comes, purifies all our negativities in general, and particularly anything committed in relation to Buddha. It could be disrespecting. Let's say you have a holy image in your room, but if you are just sitting there with your leg or your foot, your feet facing to your altar, that's disrespect. And sometimes you fart in front of your altar, that's also disrespect. Anything, even if you walk past, if you walk like this without kind of bowing, that's also disrespect. That means you really view that images as material things. You don't really view it as Buddha. Remember, as a precept of refuge, we have to view all the images as actual Buddha. So if you have this one, automatically you will bow. So let's say if His Holiness Dalai Lama is in front of you, sitting there, will you walk past without bowing? We will not, isn't it? It is considered disrespectful. We will always bow and then walk past if we have to. So same way. So we have unknowingly or knowingly, we have committed so many of negative actions in relation to Buddha. And sometimes people consider or view statues as possessions, as what is that one? What is that word?
Idol.
Idol is okay. I mean, you're using as commodity. That's the word. Using commodity, you know, selling all these things. These are just viewing it as commodity. So these are also disrespect. So these and other things in relation to Buddha. So these we need to purify. And then the other part is, imagine that you receive all the qualities and blessings of Buddha's speech, body, speech, and mind. So that one, another half an hour gone, just doing that, you see. And then move on to the next one, Sangha. I go to refuge, Sangha. So here Sangha are the realized beings, those who have attained the path of seeing, and above. So those are called sanghas. We are not sangha, okay? We are not sangha jewel, yeah. And when it comes to the visualization, of course, the purification side is all the negativities in general, and then particularly those in relation to sangha community, sangha members, not respecting, disrespecting, and all this. So it goes on like this. Dharma, or when it comes to the Dharma, then visualize the rays of light and nectars emitting from that scripture, which is in the light form. Emit all that light and nectars from it, and then do the same kind of visualization. So this one very common negative karma in relation to Dharma is disrespecting the text. We put it on the floor, sometimes we, cross over. All these are disrespectful. I shared with you, I think, that also I learned from Hui. At Hui's place, she has the normal garbage bin, and then in the prayer room, she has another bag, garbage bin, kind of bin. So I said, what is this for? This is for all the Dharma things. If you need to discard, even let's say the incense packet, there's so many Dharma things, so many Tibetan words. Even in English, there are written Dharma words, she will keep it and store in that bag. And then she will later ask them to bring up to they have a retreat center there in the jungle to burn. So when I saw that, wow, that's the way to do it. What do? Everything dumped in the garbage. And sometimes we don't even care. It's just lying on the floor. Especially many of these, if you buy gifts from India, something to do with the Buddhist thing, they're always packed with the Buddha image and all this thing. You cannot just throw like that. You have to keep it. So these are the things we commit. Sometimes knowingly, most of the time being ignorant. So we have committed so many of this. So when we do that visualization, we have to include all those negative actions and then visualize that all that has been cleansed. So now you are clean. No more negativities. So that's refuge practice. Now we move on to after you finish the refuge practice. So if you are doing a session, Ganden Lha Gyäma, so it's up to you. You can just spend refuge practice 5 minutes, or you can spend 15 minutes. It's up to you. So maybe the first session you do more, spend more time, and then the next sessions you can just do 1 time or twice. So now coming to the refuge generating. So we have already discussed how important to generate bodhicitta. So I take refuge until I'm enlightened in the Buddha, Dharma, and the Sangha, Supreme Assembly, by the merits of generosity and so forth. May I become a Buddha to benefit transmigratory beings. So whatever you are practicing, particularly this retreat or this session, all to achieve enlightenment for the sake of sentient beings. So that's important. So when you do that, so you are generating that bodhicitta mind while you have that, the merit field or that object, the refuge field there. So at the end of this, the visualization is that from the object of refuge, mainly the Guru, the main refuge there, the replica a duplicate, a replica of that guru. Let's say we have visualized Buddha Shakyamuni, actually your guru in the form of Buddha Shakyamuni. So that one, a replica of that comes down to you, and then it dissolves into you, and then you become Buddha. These are important to do. In one sense, like, that's really a childish thing. But when you do that, somehow it leaves an imprint. So it is important to do. So what happens is, what this visualize involves is, it involves bringing a replica of Buddha into yourself, and then imagine you becoming a Buddha. And then now that you have become Buddha, from you, now rays of light emitted all over the direction, and you bring all the sentient beings to Buddhahood, because that was your goal. And now you have become Buddha, and you are now liberating sentient beings. So this is the visualization. Then what happens when you open your eyes? You have not become Buddha. Sentient beings have not become Buddha. Still the same. The world has not changed a bit. People are still suffering. Now you observe. Why? What is the cause? And you realize that it is all because of this. People are biased. People have attachment towards their loved ones. People have aversion towards those whom you don't like, those force. So because of that, this attachment and aversion, we commit negative karma. Because of that, we are still bind in cyclic existence, and we cycle again and again. So now you do the immeasurable thoughts, generate these 4 immeasurable thoughts. How wonderful it would be if all sentient beings were to abide in equanimity, because you now know that it's because that we lack to abide, we fail to abide in equanimity. We have this closeness, or what you call attachment towards the close ones, and then we have this aversion towards our enemies, and then indifference towards strangers. So these are the problems. So that's why you are saying that how wonderful it would be if all sentient beings were to abide in equanimity, free from the closeness of attachment and the distance of hatred. May they abide in equanimity. This is your, what you call, your wish. And then you are making prayers. May they abide in equanimity. And then you are, what you call, generating this resolve. I myself will cause them to abide in equanimity. And now you are requesting your gurus, please, Guru Deity, bless me to be able to do this. It is so nice, isn't it? First, you really generate that intention. You see that why, even though you have just finished that visualization where you have liberated everybody, but in reality still there, it's because of all this. So you make these wishes. And then that's the immeasurable equanimity. And then we go down. How wonderful it would be if all sentient beings were to have happiness. You see that sentient beings lack happiness, so you wish them to have happiness and the causes for happiness, because happiness does not come from nothing. You need the causes and conditions to give rise to that happiness. So you not only wish them happiness, but also the causes for happiness. May they have happiness and its causes. I myself will cause them to have the happiness and its causes. Please, Guru Deity, bless me to be able to do this. So when you bring this to the Shantideva's practice, you see the relationship. Because here saying that you are wishing all sentient beings to happy and have all the causes of happiness, and you say that I will do this, I will make this happen. And then when others are having good and nice things, you are jealous. So you see the contradiction. On the one hand, we are Mahayana practitioners. We strive to benefit all sentient beings. When our enemies are successful, jealousy comes in. So that's why Shantideva says that, why are you so jealous? You should be happy, because that's what you want, isn't it? You want everybody to be happy, everybody to be successful. Then when from their own accord, if they are able to achieve that, why aren't you celebrating? Why are you jealous? You see the connection there. So these are really, the Shantideva makes, what's that? Succinct point, is it? Yeah. And then, how wonderful it would be if sentient beings were free from. So now we are compassion, talking about the immeasurable compassion. How wonderful it would be if all sentient beings were free from suffering. So even though you wish them happiness, but you see that they are all suffering. So now you are wishing them to be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. May they be free from suffering and its causes. I myself will cause them to be free from suffering and its causes. Please, Guru Deity, bless me to be able to do this. So at least it gives you some courage that you have somebody to rely on. Your Guru is there to help you achieve this. How wonderful it would be if all sentient beings were never separated from the happiness of higher rebirth and liberation. May they never be separated from these. I myself will cause them never to be separated from these. Please, Guru Deity, bless me to be able to do this. So these are 4 immeasurable thoughts. So after refuge, then generate bodhicitta, then the 4 immeasurable thoughts. This is a what you call shorter version, but in terms of helping you to what you call get in that mood, I think the other one is more powerful. When you read that, you feel something. So if you have no time, you can do this. May all sentient beings have happiness and causes. May all sentient beings be free from suffering and its causes. So it's up to you. Oh, another break time. What time is it? 11? Oh.
15 minutes.
So now we are going to do the actual Ganden Lha Gyäma practice. So at the moment we have generated that merit or that refuge field. So we need to close, or what you call that? To close, is it? To not close. No, we have to make it dissolve. We have to dissolve that. So how do we do that? Because we don't want too many things there. So now that those objects of refuge, they have done their part. So they are not, at the moment, not necessary. So we need to dissolve them. How do we do that? So first, all the others all merge into the center figure. Which is the center figure? Lama, the Guru, the Shakyamuni Buddha, who is actually your root Guru. So we dissolve everything into that center figure. So that center figure, that Shakyamuni Buddha, your Guru Shakyamuni Buddha, you bring it to here. It's called Minsam, where the coiled hair is. So you bring to your in the middle of your forehead, and then dissolve into you, and then bless. It blesses you. So now there's no longer the refuge field there. We have all dissolved that into ourselves. first to the central figure and then central figure down to us. So no longer Osho. So now that we are going into the actual practice, we need to again bring a new set of merit field. So this is what. So this is the actual Ganden Lha Gyäma. So those who recite this, you are familiar. So this is the first stanza. In Tibetan, it's a Ganden Lha Gyäma Drupa ne Rabur Shosa Punde Chunzinzi. Chogi Jabu Kunjin Losan Ta Sedan Cheba Neder Shek So. So this is invocation, inviting the merit field. From the heart of the savior of the hundreds of deities of Tushita, on the peak of a cloud resembling a clump of fresh white curd, King of the Dharma, omniscient Losantapa, please come to this place together with your sons. So with your son doesn't mean that Lama Tsongkhapa is father, Son is the chief disciples, the two chief disciples. So now we need to invite Lama Tsongkhapa and the two disciples to our practice as a merit field. So where are we inviting them from? So it is from Tushita. Tushita is the abode of Maitreya Buddha. So any Buddha, the future Buddha, when it comes to descend to earth, so they first go to Tushita. So Shakyamuni Buddha, before coming down, he was there. And now it's a Maitreya's time. So Maitreya is like the king of Tushita, or whatever you call the spiritual leader or head of Tushita. So we are inviting Lama Tsongkhapa from Tushita. So Tushita, in the commentary, they described very elaborately, but it is like what we call Pure Land, supposed to be, it's flawless. Everything from the ground, to all this built from precious stones, and then everything, there's no what do you call? Everything is flawless. When we go to some, what do you call, nice gardens, we were like, wow, this is like a heaven descended onto earth, isn't it? So that kind of image, you can imagine that kind of image. Of course, it is 1,000 million times better than that. But for our purpose, if you are able to imagine that Tushita is something, the best, 1,000 times better than the best gardens in this world. So at least you will have some idea what it looks like. So in that area, there is called the Kungarawa, what do you call it? Yiga Chunze. Yiga Chunze is where is a courtyard, teaching courtyard. So before we invite, we have to visualize all that. There is this Tushita in the abode there. So there is this teaching courtyard where Maitreya Buddha is in the center. So Maitreya Buddha, I think you know what Maitreya Buddha looks like, don't you? It's golden color or yellow color, and then of course it's radiant, and with one hand, not one hand, one face, two hands. What was one face. Why we say one face is because sometimes the deities have 3 faces or 1,000 faces. So anyway, so this is in the what's that? Sambhogakaya form, is it? It's the Deva form. That's why he's wearing all this. So one face, 2 hands, and then the way is sitting is like sitting on a chair. So the reason is this called Sangbö Shuktang. That means because he has to come down to earth to liberate sentient beings soon. So that's why he's getting ready to get up to go. So that's how he was seated. Not usually all Buddhas are seated in lotus position, isn't it? Cross-leg position. But he is not, because he's getting ready to come to liberate us. And then, so on this left there is a lotus, and lotus there is a wheel, Dharma wheel. So this represents that he will come as a fifth Buddha, and then he will turn the wheel of Dharma. And then, and also there is something called chiluk. Chiluk is a kind of a water container. So he carries that, because the Maitreya Buddha, remember the Shakyamuni Buddha was born as king. But he will be born as, what is the word for tamse? I think it's a sage. So just to represent that he is coming as a sage. Sage, is that a right word? No, it's a sage na kare. Ma tamse sena injitol. Sage la wuro tamse. So there are different castes in India. So one is the monarch or the king. Then there's another, we call it tamse. I don't know what is the word. Priest tamse. Let me see. Yeah. Nowadays you can just ask anything to our Uncle Google. Or Brahman. Brahman, as a Brahman. So to represent that he will come as a Brahman, so he is carrying that water container. Obviously that is typical of a Brahman caste. Then, yeah, on one side there is Lama Atisha, but all in Deva form. And then we also have Lama Tsongkhapa. Lama Tsongkhapa in a different form. So, and then of course there are thousands and thousands of disciples, and where Maitreya is turning the wheel of Dharma, teaching. So we have to picture that. And then we are inviting the Lama Tsongkhapa and the two disciples from the heart. In the heart of the Maitreya Buddha, you see the Lama Tsongkhapa in the center, on the throne, which is a bit higher, and that at the lower throne, the two, on the right, Gyaltsab, on the left, Lama Tsongkhapa. So this picture is a bit deceiving, because here they have drawn pictures in the human form. It is not human form, it's Deva form. All that, Lama Atisha is there, but not in the human form, in the Deva form. So he won't be wearing those hats, isn't it? Pandit hats. So that's where we are inviting. So now how do we invite? It's the mode of traveling, is it? Mode of inviting. On the peak of cloud. So now at the heart of Maitreya Buddha, you have visualized the Lama Tsongkhapa with two disciples. Now when the time comes to invite, you visualize that they are all in the cloud. Cloud, what kind of cloud? It says clump of fresh white curd. It's so white that it resembles like a fresh curd. Yogurt, fresh curd is supposed to be very white. So that kind of white cloud. So Lama Tsongkhapa in a bigger cloud, and then the two, you see the tangas there. Maybe I have the tanga here. Oh, I think I don't see. You don't see the cloud. Normally they have the cloud. Ganden Lha Gyäma one. So that's how you invite. On the peak of a cloud resembling a clump of fresh white curd, king of the Dharma, So that is Lama Tsongkhapa, omniscient Losang Thakpa. Please come to this place together with your 2 disciples. So when you recite, you visualize, you imagine all this, and then you imagine that at the end of this really arrived. Lama Tsongkhapa and the 2 disciples have really come to your place. So in the commentaries they emphasize that when you even visualize the Tushita or where the Maitreya's abode is, it is so important to really have a clear visualization, because all this leaves imprint for us to create our own Buddha land. So it is important. From there, when you recite, imagine. So you see the benefit of doing a solitude retreat. If you are doing alone, you can stop here. If you don't get a clear picture, you can recite this again and again so that you can get a clear picture and you are convinced, kind of have this, oh, now they are here. So that's the benefit. You don't have to follow the other what do you call, people. So when you're doing in a group, you cannot just stop here. You cannot repeat that because you have to follow. So when you are doing individually, so this is very helpful. You can recite this just one first line again and again so that you have a very clear picture and kind of a conviction there. So that's one part, the inviting the merit field. Now that we have invited the merit field, what do we do? So this is same with all the practices. So what is called the 7 limb prayers, 7 limb practices, 7-fold practices, sometimes they call it Yanga Tumba. So this is said to be very easy, simple, yet very powerful. All the practices are included in this 7-fold practices, sometimes called, translated 7 limb. So here it begins with, so these are the images, Lama Tsongkhapa and the 2 disciples. So normally Gyaltsab, who is on the right, is always depicted bit elderly, and then Khedrubje is depicted as quite wrathful because he is known to be a very aggressive debater. So when there is anybody who wants to challenge any Gelug views, he will be the one to take on the challenge and then defeat. So that's why he is always depicted with bit, her eyes bit pop up so that it will look bit wrathful. So that's Lama Tsongkhapa and 3. So this is the statue and the other one is Thanga. So when you see this, these are the center one is Lama Tsongkhapa and the So now that we have invited the Lama Tsongkhapa, this is how it looks like. When you see Ganden Lha Gyäma Thanga, the front one is the one with the cloud there, and this is Maitreya Buddha. So now that we have invited, so the first one is request to remain for a long time. We don't want Lama Tsongkhapa to leave us without, before we finish all that practices, isn't it? That would be a disaster, isn't it? Hey, I haven't finished. Yeah, anyway, this is to make requests for Lama Tsongkhapa to live long. I mean, to live. In the sky before me, Dunyi Namga Singde Peden, Chizun Lama Gyebe, Zonggaji, Talu Tebe, Sonam Shingjodo, Temba Jiji, Geja Shusu Sus. In the sky before me, on the lion throne, lotus and moon, my perfect, pure Guru smiles with delight. Supreme field of merit for my mind of faith, please abide for 100 eons to spread the teachings. So you are requesting, because Lama Tsongkhapa, here the Lama Tsongkhapa is your Guru, yeah? That you cannot forget that. So if you think Lama Tsongkhapa separate from your Guru, then it's not Guru Yoga. So Lama Tsongkhapa is your root Guru, but in the form of, in the form of, hey, I just remember something. I asked you a quiz, isn't it? And then we were distracted by this one. What was the rationale, remember? For your guru to be, to your guru as Buddha. What is the logical kind of a rational? Is there any rationality?
Because it represents all the qualities of the Buddha and all his realizations and teachings and all of his benefits and blessings.
Yeah, so for many of us, there's this blockage. How can our guru be a Buddha? He's so ordinary, isn't it? So that way, one way to tackle this, or one way, one helpful way to tackle this is that, why did Buddha engage in so many hardships? What was the goal? Why did Buddha even try to achieve enlightenment? To benefit us, isn't it? To liberate us. Buddha's main goal is to liberate us. And Buddhas have engaged in all these bodhisattva practices, undergone so many hardships. For what? So that he can liberate us. He can achieve enlightenment so that he can help us. So now that he has become Buddha, will he just rest there? Will he not just look down, oh, pity, poor sentient being? Will he say that, do that? No, he will find a way. Because that's his goal. That's why he wanted to, always looking for ways to help. But if he were to come as Buddha, will we listen to? No. If he were to appear as animal or something else, will be able to help us? No. He must take a form that we can relate to. That is human form. And then what? If just ordinary human being? No. He came as in the form of our guru, our teacher. So if you think that way, oh, it is possible that, our guru can be Buddha. Because Buddha has to find a way. And this is the best way to help us. But then we say that, oh, then he has this and this fault. First, what we see, what we perceive, has it always been right? No. Many times we were mistaken. We always say that, oh, I thought that you were like this. I thought that he was this. I thought that she was this. But then it turned out to be wrong. It's not. And then even one person, we have saying, isn't it? Beauty lies in the eyes of beholder. Even when you look at one person, different perception. You can see somebody pretty, beautiful, ugly. It may not be the case with another person. So we cannot rely on our perception, what we see. That's also, you can use that against that judgment. And then thirdly, if your guru has come as ordinary person, doesn't he have to behave and act as an ordinary person? Remember, I used the example as an actor. If you are acting a villain's role, you have to act as villain. You cannot be a nice person. Then no longer you are a villain. If you are acting as a, what do you call, the kind person, all this thing, you have to be that way. So when you use all this, it helps. It helps to generate that faith, because that is the main practice of Guru Yoga. If you don't have all that, then no matter how elaborate you do this kind of practice, no matter how long your session is, no matter how many years of retreat you do, there won't be any realization. So this one we have to bear in mind. Yeah, as an ordinary person, there are so many thoughts. How come this and this? But then, yeah, you have to tackle that. There are ways to tackle it. So here, it says that in the sky before me, so you are now offering, imagine a golden throne there, and then the invited, the Lama Tsongkhapa and the disciples now seated on that golden throne that you have offered. In the sky before me, on the lion throne, lotus and moon, my perfect pure Guru smiles with delight. So generally they say that Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, our refuge, have no reason to smile at us because we are all the time doing the wrong things. Buddha and Bodhisattvas tell us to go to the east. We always run to the west. It's always contradictory. Our actions are always contradictory to the Buddha's advice. So there's no reason for Buddha to normally smile. But this time, at least we are doing something. So there's a reason. So normally the analogy is that if you have a son or a daughter who is always misbehaving, but if one time, if that son or daughter behaves well, it will make you happy. So the same here. All the time we are lost. But at least now we have come back and we are doing the right thing. So there's a reason for our Guru and Lama Tsongkhapa to smile on us. So you imagine that, smiling at us, and then requesting them to remain as a supreme field of merit. So you are going to do the following things. So please remain as my supreme field of merit. And then remain as long as it takes for 100 eons. And also when you do this as a Guru Yoga, you are also making requests to your Guru to live long. So all these small things adds up. So why do we offer long life prayers? We spend so much money. People travel all the way from here. Recently, the Tibetans in America, living in America, they have offered a long life request or prayer to His Holiness just recently. So this year, Aja went to attend as a representative. Is it? Not as representative, but you attended, isn't it? Attended the long life. So why we are making requests? Because this counts. So when you make this kind of requests, you are also making requests for your Guru to live long. Please abide for 100 eons to spread the teaching, not just live there doing nothing. Please live for the purpose of dispelling our ignorance, spreading the light so that it can illuminate us. It can dispel the darkness of ignorance. So we stop here. I was hoping to finish all this so the next session we can focus on the visualization. But it didn't happen. Never mind.
Limitations of technology.
Yeah.
So first on page 4, we'll say the first verse of the short mandala offering, and then continue on page 6.
Medo Dhamma Rira Lenje Nyende Yemba De Zanje Jendo Mede Bewa Ye Dogwe Namda Jenla Jeba Sho Rana Mendala Ganaya Daya Me Rinpoche Maje Bana Yejoje Jeba Nyamba Meba Ya Kone Kondo Pewara Sho Kozi Rabden Jen Namgara Chile Chojo Yeba Da Losan Tembe Dome Zazumunje Dove Mese Tadu Ne Joro Che Korwe Shengamzo Bendan Dewa Malu Jungwe Ne Chenre Sewan Tenzin Jazo Ye Shabe Sete Bado Ten Joro Che Pāyue Chedara Gyäma Dāng Kundu Sāmbū Dēyāng Dēshīn Do Tētā Kungi Jesu Dālō Je Gyāwā Dēdā Dāmjē Rābdō Ngō Dēsōng Shēkbē Gyāwā Dāmjē Je Ngōwā Kālā Chōdō Ngāpa Dāgī Gyāwē Dzāwā Dēgūn Gyāng Sāmbū Chūchī Rābdō Ngōwā Je. Okay, thank you.